Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry, and it's time once more for some Planescape Torment. I know it's been a few days and I've been looking forwards to this. In fact, I've actually been loading up the game a couple of times over the last few days just to look at things. I mean literally, like, look at the character sheet. Now, I want to have an interesting talk about character sheets actually at some point in this episode, and the leveling system, and the fact that this is whoa shit. Back in a moment. No, that's good. That's good. I thought I still had the volume cranked up for recording erratus, and that is not the case. So, first off, I'm going to talk to Norokj. CHJ. That's not even pronounceable if you're Welsh. And wrap up our little mission from the last episode. You see Norokj. He is pulling out one of his spikes of hair and using it to scratch a spot on his face. You can't help but think he'd look a lot better with dreadlocks. So, another reason I loaded up the last episode and checked the voices I was using for some of the Dustmen. I found out what's going on in the mausoleum. The dead sleep again.
Updated my journal.
Norokj's lines of... oh wow, that... just lines of worry smooth out as you speak. Thanks, give I. He reaches into his robes and draws forth a small bag which he hands to you. Copper coin, 100. Thanks. Glad I could help. Farewell. So yeah, talking about leveling, right? So this is based on AD&D 2nd edition, which is remarkably similar to 1st edition. So much so that for a great number of years I was able to play 2nd edition using the 1st edition books, because there really wasn't very much difference between them. Just a few things tidied up. The addition of Thaco, which had kind of appeared in a few of the later, much, towards the back end of 1st edition. Some of the late 1st edition adventures already included it as an abbreviation, even though it shouldn't have been there because of the 620s in a row and a few other things. And I did love the old 1st edition level-based attack tables, which were really funky, because they were supposed to be information for the Dungeon Master and not for the players to know. Right, so levels, yes. First off, the nameless one has unique advantages that are not normal to the system, right? But levels come nice and slow at a relaxed pace, and generally, when a character gains a level, the only really noticeable change is they're going to get a few extra hit points. Maybe some extra spells if they're a cleric or a magic user. I mean, the thief has some skills, but that's it, right? There's no anticipation, no excitement, no planning, right? There's no skill points, there's no character build, essentially. Most of these numbers on the character sheet are not going to change that much. In fact, many of them will never change. Especially for characters who are not the nameless one, because the nameless one gains an extra ability point every time he levels, which is incredibly powerful because he's the only person who ever does it. Everyone else, they roll their character abilities at first level, character creation, that's it, they're done. That's all they get. And most of those ability scores, unless they are of exceptionally high or low value, don't really have much of an effect on general session play. That's not saying they're not going to get used, it's saying they basically almost never get used, So, in 2nd edition, you could enjoy playing your character, relax, have fun, and then maybe every 4 to 7 sessions you'd get a level, and it would be great. Now, I understand that a lot of American players just all brag about how, yeah, well, we used to just skip the first 10 levels and start at 10th level. I'd be like, why? You literally skipped a lot of the most fun parts of the game. You know, I mean, basically, characters over 6th level should retire anyway, pretty much. Once you get up to 6th level, you've reached the point where a fighter can basically stand in front of a dragon, have it breathe fire all over him, turn around to his mates and go, "Oh, that wasn't very good, was it? I'm kind of hurt now." And then they all laugh and run away, right? At that point, monsters cease to become threatening, and the game kind of becomes relatively easy. Essentially, the player characters at that point have been given the kind of tools where the fighter has enough health to take a big massive hit from anything and still be standing. The cleric can pretty much patch anyone up to full health anytime they need to. And you're not exactly playing on easy mode, because the enemies can do powerful things as well, but it's basically nowhere near as dangerous and exciting as the adventures of lower levels. So, generally, you'd go off, do an adventure, have a wonderful fun time, and by the end of the adventure you may have gained enough experience points to advance a level. In fact, more often than not, you would gain enough experience points to advance one level, but that would not always be the case, right? And the experience points would not be the end goal. They would be a nice little reward afterwards, right? The main goal would be having the adventure, having fun, having a wonderful experience, to use the word experience once again, and you wouldn't get players going, "Oh, can we have some more experience, please? Can we level now?" Because you really wouldn't get very much out of it, right? There'd be a tiny incremental increase, and that would be about it. For instance, as a fighter, you're literally only getting hit points and your to-hit modifiers going up ever so slightly, and every now and then your saving throws would go up as well. We can talk about saves later, because I don't want to bore the pants off all of you too early, but basically fighters, not a lot in the class. For the thief, you also had percentage-based thief skills, and these you could plan out a little bit, right? You'd, well, yes and no. See, in 2nd edition you got points to spend. In 1st edition, no. It was, what level are you? What's your dexterity? That's what your thief skills are, right? So you just had level-based thief skills. And in 2nd edition they were level-based as well, but you had points that you could spread around and put where you wanted. And that was nice, right? So the thief has a few thief skills, but he is not your thug hiding in the alley. He is your weedy little knavish scoundrel, right? And let me just close this, see if I can get some music started up again. There we go. So, the thief, basically, 1st and 2nd edition were horribly unbalanced, and the cleric was the most powerful class in the game, until the higher levels, when the magic user became most powerful, somewhere around level 9 to 12. The cleric basically had the second best, second highest hit die, second best amount of health, the best saving throws in most cases, and could wear practically all the armour and shields a fighter could use. The didn't deal quite as much damage as the thief, admittedly, but could cast a lot of spells, and a lot of people made the mistake of casting healing spells in combat when healing spells had a 5-second casting time, which meant you were likely to get hit and have your spell disrupted, so you shouldn't bother trying to cast healing spells in combat, but after combat. And magic potions had a 2 to 5 minute onset time after being drank, so drinking potions in combat was not wise. Generally, healing up was something you were supposed to do outside of combat in 1st edition. In 2nd edition, people started healing in combat, which, while it helped characters remain alive, it also encouraged characters to stay in a fight and never run away. It encouraged a very brave, foolhardy attitude, which meant characters became less well-rounded and more just like playing pieces, stacking the odds and manipulating numbers. Now that's all 1st and 2nd edition. when we come to 3rd edition, well, let's go to here. That might get us some music. Never mind.
I'm gone.
When we get to 3rd edition, player characters leveled a lot faster. In fact, the 3rd edition authors claimed they wanted player characters to level approximately once every 1.5 sessions. This was a lot quicker than what players of earlier editions were used to, and a lot of players appreciated this. Also, 3rd edition and onwards was heavily related to character builds, right? Every level you'd get some skill points, some special abilities or something, and you could plan and scheme your character, and people would start planning ahead. They'd be like, oh, next level I'm going to get this thing. Right, can I have that now, please? And players got very impatient and would frequently pester the GM for experience points. And for me, that took a lot of the fun out of the game. The rapid advancement and the impatience expected of the players kind of spoiled the fun, really. Now, as I mentioned, in 1st and 2nd edition, you didn't get very much when you leveled, right? It was just, you leveled up and a few things got better, that was it, right? And you didn't even get to choose anything normally. In 3rd edition, it was like, oh no, you have all these choices, right? You get to actively level, and a lot more things change about your character. They're all small things, they all add up, and they all help. Yeah, they're extra tools for extra jobs, right? And you get to choose what you want to be good at, what you want to be bad at. Now, while the leveling experience in 1st and 2nd edition wasn't very exciting, and you didn't get very much out of it, that could possibly be a positive thing, because there was less incentive for the players to want to gain levels quickly, unless they wanted to, like, go hunting dragons or fighting giants or something dangerous, you know, or like take on an evil demon worshipping cult, because the cult might actually be able to summon a demon, right? When you got into 3rd edition, there was an increased incentive to gain levels, because more levels meant more stuff. And while in 1st and 2nd edition you could lose levels and things could be taken away from you, in 3rd edition and onwards you never lost anything. Yeah, essentially a ethic of 3rd edition was never take anything away from the player. You know, don't take something, you know, don't take a level away from a player, give them a negative level instead, which they have to remove before they can be at their full level again and stuff like that, right? So this brings about a couple of the issues with level-based systems, and I prefer skill-based systems with no level involvement at all. So you'd think I would love the 3rd edition system where you have loads of special skills and abilities and talents, and you put it all together. But in a way, maybe the weakness of the earlier leveling system where you got virtually nothing was actually its strength. Let's think on that for a moment. Right, so we have Emmerich here who wants us to go and
Come on, let's shake a leg. Well, I mean, you shake a leg.
Yeah, alright, Mort. Steady on. Emmerich wants us to find Farod. We've already talked to him about it. There are other dustmen in here. Named individuals being Mortai Gravesend, Seer the Skeptic. And while I would like to go through here and do all of this, I think I'm going to spread it out. Alright?
Let us not squander it here.
Wait, was that dak'kon being impatient? That's unusual for him. Right. So, I'm going to head outside, because I have a box to deliver to, I believe it's Kuatra, or... wait. No, Brascon. Okay. Somewhere in the southwestern section of the Hive. Now, map. At some point, I'd like to go back into Angyar's house. And Angyar was angry and threatened to, basically threatened to beat us up or even kill us if we didn't leave his house. But there was a woman moving around in there, looked like she might be his wife or mother or something, and we should probably talk to her at some point, provided Ankyar doesn't beat us up. Let's go look for Braskin.
All right.
I could just cut through the alley. Why am I not doing that? Good question. So, something else I did in between sessions was I switched back to the fighter class to check if my experience points had been saved.
I'm gone.
And I was on 14,662 out of the 16,000 required to level, so I believe it is accurately saving the experience points between classes. So switching back and forth will not cause me to lose experience points. I should also put some points into wisdom at some point as well, because it's a little low at the moment, and while I at this point would probably be pushing intelligence, getting that wisdom up for the bonus experience points and the extra chance to recall memories would be really useful. I should absolutely do that. I believe Braskin is around. Yep, there. Wow. They even give me a nice big ice cream cone map marker to recognise the place. And the ice cream cones on the map are massive. But hey, merchant, hello. I'm carrying a load of assorted crap. Will you take it off me? Well met again, Cutter. Come to buy some of the finest steel and sigil, have you? Well, yes I have, if by buy you mean sell. Right. What can I get rid of today? Not a lot. I should shift some items about. Oh, I can't sell the bronze rings to him, of course. Okay. Okay. That would be why I haven't parted with many of them yet. Okay, we have a bronze bracelet, rusty dagger. Oh, we don't have a lot to sell at all. Okay.
Come in, Basher. Look here, the finest Toledo blade.
Toledo's in Italy, isn't it? Right, I'm going to give these to dak'kon to carry for now. I was going to give him some more, but no, dak'kon can carry some things. And let's go find Braskin and deliver this box to him. Once again, it does not contain the severed head of Gwyneth Paltrow, and I have not seen that film. This house is massive, let's step inside. This is where I find out I've gone in the wrong building, isn't it? Nope, there's Braskin. Okay, let's say hello. So there's lots of things we can steal from here as a thief. The guy's standing right here. I sense I would be very visible, and it's not wise. Okay. In a loud, booming voice, Braskin says, "What in the name of the abyss are you doing in my house? Leave now before I make you even more ugly than you already are." I was asked to deliver this box into your care. Well, why didn't you say so? So hand it over and you can be on your way. As you present the box to Braskin, his expression changes from one of anticipation to that of amusement. Whoa there! I don't fall for that trick a second time. Put that thing away and leave. I don't understand. Why won't anyone take this box? First Kuatra and now you? Did you say Kuatra? Oh, did you say Kuatra? Braskin lets out a great bellow of laughter. Why, that's the fellow who bought the box off me. Thought he got the best of me when he bought it. I guess he figured the gems alone were more than worth the price he paid me. Poor fellow didn't realize what he got himself into until it was too late. Just what's so horrible about this box? You mean you really don't know anything about the box you're holding? Well, I guess it won't hurt to tell you what I know. first off, so you don't get any ideas in your head, the curse on that box only affects the current owner of the box, and to be the owner of the box you have to willingly take possession of it. There goes the idea of just leaving the box for someone else to find. So what's in the box? Now that is a good question. The box has been around the hive since anyone can remember. There are many rumours flying about. As you can imagine, over time the truth has been warped a little bit further with each retelling of the story. So basically nobody knows what's in the box. Right? It could be empty. It's not, but it could be. Right? And basically this is very Pandora's box, but go on. I've heard many a story about that box, and they all seem to have a recurring theme. The name given to that foul thing is Mordor's box, and the owner of the box will die should he or anyone else open it. As to the contents, who knows? Some say it's an ancient dragon, while others say it's the evil soul of Mordor himself. I cannot tell for sure, but just by looking at it, any soul can tell it's something evil, and one would have to be a fool to open it. Well, what am I supposed to do with it then? I would suggest you go and see Shalandra. She lives in the northeastern region of the hive. It was from her that I won the box. Well, I say won. Who knows? Maybe she will be more knowledgeable of what to do with it. Or you can find some other clueless Burke to take it off your hands. It's up to you. I wish you luck. Well, fare we thee well then.
Updated my journal.
So we are racking up experience at a nice rate. At this point, I would have probably been pushing 5th level in Thief if I had changed class a little bit earlier. And not put so many points into fighter. Fortunately, those fighter points are not wasted. If I ever wish to go for another fighter level, I can do that at some point later on. Let's head outside Braskin's place.
Done.
And head off this way. And no thugs are attacking us. That's a nice bonus. Hey, what's this building? This window, if that's what it is, seems to be made from a blue stone that shifts and bends as you look at it. It glows softly in the dim light of the city. And that is another ice cream cone of death called Hive Dwelling. So descriptive. I should step inside and see who lives in there. Because, hey, I'm inquisitive. I'm snooping around people's homes. And she's only called Hive Dweller, she doesn't even have a name. She has things I can rob. But again, I'd probably have to duff her up if I wanted to do that, and I don't want to do that. That doesn't feel right to me.
I'm gone.
Hey you, Hive Merchant, could I sell you some crappy rings that I don't want any more at all? This older merchant has a worldly look to him. His deep voice is gentle but confident. Ah, hello there. Are you ready to sample some of the most delectable treats from across the plains, my good man? Oh, he sells food, right. No, I was just passing by. Farewell. I'm sure I'll be back later, and I know pretty much what I'll be doing. Bloody hell, that refreshed all the dialogue, didn't it? Yeah, at some point I'm going to see Kosajai, Giskel, and this merchant. But not yet.
We are, Basher. I think we can fit you out.
Let's go and see Reekwind. Oh, this is going to be fun, isn't it? My throat's getting dry already, and I'm only like 15 or 20 minutes into an episode. This man is looking at you with a strange, bug-eyed stare. His eyes are huge. So huge they look ready to pop out of his sockets and roll across the cobblestones. He nods eagerly as you approach, bobbing his head like a bird, and, as you near him, you suddenly notice the smell of urine and feces surrounding him. Now, this dialogue popping over his head is a misnomer and probably shouldn't be there. Greetings. The man sniffles, wiping his nose on his sleeve, then opens his mouth to reveal blackened, rotting gums. Oh, so he's not the one who's lost his voice, who sold his voice and someone else stole it. Stories for coin, sirrah? His breath reeks. It smells like this man has been keeping rotten meat stored inside his mouth. Stories for coin? Who are you? The man snorts, thick with phlegm. I'm not going to emulate that because actually I do have a bit of phlegm and mucus at the moment, and it would be quite unpleasant. Oh, sod it. Oh, that was bad. Names. Who you are. His head does a slight twitch every time he repeats himself. Names. Dangerous. He glances at the ground and stirs the dirt with his foot. How are names dangerous? Knowing a name or being stuck with one, both's a mess of trouble. He looks back up at you. My name's a given name, not one asked for. Reekwind. Once again, you become conscious of his reeking breath and the smell of urine and feces that surrounds him. A given name. An appropriate name? Not my true name. Reekwind mumbles on, his head twitching every time he says name. A true name's a dangerous thing. Gives others powers. He stares at you with his huge eyes and wags his finger. Keep your name secret. Keep it close. Never let it out. What do you mean? Names are like smells. Things can track you with them. Reekwind coughs. His eyes almost popping out of his skull as he does so. His cough seems to loosen his bowels, for he breaks wind loudly, as if to accentuate his point. If someone knows a true name, it gives them power. He licks his lips. The power to hurt. I don't know my true name.
Updated my journal.
Reekwind's eyes widen, seeing his eyeballs bulge even larger makes you uneasy. When you are blessed, remain nameless, and you shall be a spirit on the plains, untraceable, untrackable, unseen, undiscovered. He smacks his gums wetly. A name chosen, a name given. It allows others to find you and hurt you. You know, you've said that before. Have you been hurt? Reekwind gives a twitching nod, then scratches himself. Let my name slip once. Only once. Only once. His eyes film over as if the memory is painful, then glances at you uneasily. Tell you the story I can. I will, but 3 coppers must I see. His face splits into a smile as he says the word coppers, and his reeking breath hits you like a hammer. Very well, here's 3 copper. I've got loads for now, right? There's expensive things I want to buy, and I may very well do that soon. But for now, yeah, here's 3 copper. Reekwind gets into a stance, looks left, looks right, then faces you. That's actually very similar to a tradition of North American storytellers. American Indian storytellers, I would say. There are 5 directions. North, south, east, west, and the direction in which we are travelling now. And then they would tell the story and you'd go with it and get totally caught up in it. I mean, not necessarily all tribes, but it's a nice tradition, right? So he's looking around, preparing himself. This is like a theatrical rehearsed piece. The smell nearly levels you, but he takes no notice. Cursed I, walk the wards in splendour. He stands up stiffly, nose high in the air. He saunters back and forth, nodding to invisible passers-by. Alright, let's listen to his tale.
Updated my journal.
Reekwind freezes, his arms akimbo. Cross paths with a crossed one. Had the looking of a pumpkin. His seeds, curses. Requin then thrusts his belly out so as to appear fat, slicks back his hair with his filthy palm so he looks almost bald, and begins drumming his fingers on his fat belly. So a little bit like the chap up in the area north of here, running around robbing people under the pretense of being lost and asking for directions. He then walks about, circling the spot where his stuffy upper-class persona used to be. All a jumble with curses this one was. With a sneer and a careless gesture, Requin tosses an invisible curse at the stuffy persona. Right. Knew my name. Let it slip, I had. All it took. Took it all. He stiffens up again, inhaling deeply, and resumes his upper-class persona. The persona suddenly crumbles, and Requin breaks wind violently. Then exhales, filling the air with his foul, reeking breath. Cursed with stenches, smells, excrement. Came here to tell tales. All good for now. Now Requin is the name. Given name. I see. I had some questions. The stench is overpowering. Questions. Requin hunches over, regarding you warily with his huge eyes. Answers. What happened to you? Requin gives a twitching nod, then scratches himself. Let my name slip once. Only once. Okay, so that's repeating. I've heard his story, but I want to know more. There we go. What can you tell me about this area? The hive, a tale I can tell. I will, but 3 coppers must I see. He smacks his gums together and snorts like a pig. Apparently like a pig. Very well, here's 3 copper. Spirewood, he points to his left at the charred alley in the distance. An alley of dangerous angles. He bends his limbs in a twisted parody of one of the skeletal buildings. Not always angled, not always burned and charred. Once alive, no longer. Flames! Fire! He flings his hands up in the air, then waves them to simulate flames. The alley burned. Great smoke, ash everywhere. In the end, only skeletons of buildings left. Bones of dead buildings. Angles. Everywhere angles.
Updated my journal.
He hunches forward, his voice a whisper. Again, the stench from his body hits you like a wave. Dangerous now. Bad men have set up their kit there. He bows, then breaks wind in quick spurts. Like a bugle blowing. That is the tale of how the street becomes an alley of dangerous angles. How did the fire start? He makes a semicircle over his heart. A man made it so. A beast made it so. A man whom even fiends admire. Who, pray tell? A sorcerer's tale, filled with madness, sadness, burning, yearning. A tale I can tell. I will, but 3 coppers must I see. He hisses, then cackles in a way that reminds you of fire burning. I'm not even going to try that, my throat is so dry. A dangerous tale. Oh, go on, have some money. This is fun, and we might even get a bit of experience out of it. It might lead us on to greater things. Although we've kind of heard quite a bit of this before. A sorcerer there was, no simple edge wizard this, but a mage of power. Requin brings his hand together reverently, then smiles evilly. He burned with the art, and the art burned him. The name given him was Ignis, a name respected, then feared, then hated, then punished. Requind imitates a rattling wheeze, then claws the air and hisses, apparently imitating Ignis. Go on. Taught by one of the last great magi, Ignis was, and as an apprentice, Ignis learned much, and nothing at the same time. Requind shakes his head sadly. In his heart, his cold black heart, a fire blazed. It burned, and it hungered. Requind claws at his chest as if in pain. As it hungered, Ignis hungered. It was his wish to see the plains burn. In the night, Requind hunches down and begins to slowly stalk in the direction of the alley, a mad grin on his face. Ignis came to the alley that was to be the alley of angles, and the fire in his eyes, the fire in his heart, both he let out. Requind points at the alley, then flings his arms in the air, silently screaming and laughing at the same time. Flesh ran like wax, people like candles, and Ignis laughed. Requind crumples to the ground, his body racked with imagined pain. An evil was done, and forgotten not. He stands up, then hunches over, looks left, looks right, then starts mumbling as if secretly in conference with someone. Something was to be done. He stands up stiffly, his face resolute. A punishment was decided. All the edge wizards, midwives, rune tellers, copper-pinching witches, all manner of magelings, they came. All, even those of the smallest traits of the art, to punish Ignis. Separately, they were flies. He makes a buzzing noise between his rotten gums. Bzzz. Together, dangerous. He hums, then raises his hands. Caught Ignis, granted his wish. He swirls his hands as if casting a spell. He wished to burn. They granted it. Using his own desire to fuel the casting, they made his body a door to the plane of fire. They intended to kill him.
Updated my journal.
Failed. Requind breaks wind again, as if to accentuate the failure of the wizards. Ignis lived. Only slept. Blanket of flames. Flames turned in his sleep as he burned. Never happier. He shuts his eyes, wraps his arms around himself, and turns slowly. Burning, ever burning. His eyes suddenly snap open. One day he will wake, and then the plains shall burn. An unfortunate tale. I had some other questions for you. Questions. Requind hunches over, regarding you warily with his open eyes. We're at the central conversation hub again, people. Answers? I'm missing a journal. Have you seen one? Requind breaks wind, then stretches his arms. He thinks for a moment, then shakes his head. No journal have I seen. Well, in that case, I would like to ask you if you can tell me where I can find someone named Farod. Requind suddenly hunches over and leers at you. He walks around for a moment, dragging his leg as if lame. A king, a noble tale, a tale I can tell, but 3 coppers must I see? Very well, here's 3 copper, make it worth it. Reekwind remains hunched over, staring at you. Once a man of respect, Farrod was. A man of goals and position. All became nothing. Nothing turned to air. Reekwind squints, then breaks wind, filling the air with a gut-churning smell. Turned to air and stink. A liar, a cheater, a man who twisted law, Farrod was. He hunches over as if writing at a desk. He writes for a moment, then suddenly stops, afraid. Then one day, he found that he had twisted himself. Such a liar he had become that when he died, he was to go to an horrible place. Reekwind shakes his head sadly, then hunches over again and looks wildly in all directions. Farrod would not accept it. Would not. He had cheated others. He would cheat his fate too. He read, dug in books and consulted seers. Reekwind stalks back and forth, his hand over his eyes, as if staring off into the distance. And they told him that only in trash could he find that which would let him cheat his fate. Reekwind breaks wind again, then gives a reeking cough. Perhaps they lied.
Updated my journal.
Reekwind stands up stiffly, then begins to fling off imaginary clothes. With every piece of clothing he throws away, he becomes more hunched. Farrod threw away his position, his goals, and took up a new title. Reekwind stops, then leers at you. He claws at his rags, shaking them, and became the King of Rags. He would rule the trash, have his subjects search it all, and find that which he needed. He shakes his head. He looks even now. Reekwind actually reminds me of Gollum a little bit, in the way that he's degenerated into this revolting thing. Do you know where I could find him? Reekwind shakes his head. He lives amongst rags and trash. There you will find him. That's enough for now. Farewell. I think I need to breathe. Mort, I bet you're so glad you don't have a nose. Oh, thugs, are you gonna pick a fight with us so Mort can insult you? That's the point. I need to get Mort some new... Oh, hey! You were? Damn.
I'm gone.
I should go back. Yeah, hey, come back here. We've got a fight to have. Give me some experience points. Yeah,
Endure.
Mort,
In enduring, grow strong.
do your thing. Oh, that's
What's
not
up?
Mort, right. I need to improve Mort's litany of curses.
I hear your words.
You father of trolls.
Oh, Mort,
Yeah.
he's saved. Sometimes it happens.
You dog's body.
And insult the other one.
Stupid yabo. Damn it.
Right, let the
See
combat commence. Battle! In the alleys.
I will hear you. Your will be done.
I mean, a bit anticlimactic, I know. But we're getting somewhere, allegedly. Right, I better send that off to the nameless one, who will not equip it. So what do these do again? Stealth and pickpockets. Basically skills I'm not going to use very much. Might as well keep, well, 7 handy in case they open a portal. And off we go again.
All right.
As we traverse the alley of dangerous angles, looking for, I believe her name was Shalindra. What a nice name. For a snobby bitch who had a go at us when we went into her house, if I remember correct. I'm not going to rob them right in front of them. Because they'll notice. And I don't need to. I've got enough money at the moment, right? There are expensive things like the tattoos from the Davos Tattoo Studio, and I could easily pick up one of those to improve wisdom, and I may very well actually do that. But I kind of don't want to do it yet because of something coming up. That makes it a bit more fun. I mean, if you're into tattoos, that is. Let us continue on our way. Oh, hello, Hive Fugs. You're just who I wanted to see. Are you going to fight me? I hope not, because it wouldn't end well for you. And here we are, Shalandra, not Shalindra. Okay, Shalandra isn't quite so good. She looks like a fucking bimbo. Streetwalker. And yet another interruption. A person cannot even find privacy within one's own home. Please leave before I summon the guards, or better yet, I'll try out a new spell I've been toying with. Before you do that, I'd like to learn something about this box. You hold out Morador's box for Shalandra to examine. Ah yes, I remember this box well. I acquired it some time ago. What do you wish to know about it? You seem to know about something about magic. Can you tell me what spells have been put on this box? For many years I studied the box and tried to learn its secrets. Spell upon spell upon spell has been woven into it. To my amazement, my studies revealed that all the spells are of the type used to confine fiends. Fiends? You mean there are fiends trapped within this box? No, not fiends. A fiend. And judging by the sophistication and power of these spells, it would have to be one of significant standing and power in this realm. Right, well, I want to know more about it now, obviously. I have more questions I wish to ask. What else do you wish to know? Where did you get this from? Let me think. I can't recall whom I got it from. I just remember I was down in the marketplace looking for some spell components when some person offered me this box. After testing the box, I found it to be cursed and was intrigued by the spells woven into the box, so I purchased it anyway. If you were so intrigued by the box, what made you decide to give it away? I was young and brash back then. You still look quite young now, love. In my relentless pursuit of knowledge, I carelessly undid one of the spells. Look closely at the box. It was like new when I had it. The signs of decay are an indication that the spells are weakening. I realized I was in danger if I kept the box any longer, so I held a contest to get rid of it. What, a contest? Oh, it was the most expedient way to rid myself of it. I simply invited all the bashers in the hive to fight each other to determine who was the best. Bashers are notorious for having big muscles and not much upstairs, if you know what I mean. They came like flies to honey. I offered some money and the box as a prize. I believe some basher named Braskin won the contest. Oh, he did, but I want to know a little bit more about this box while I'm here. Do you know the history behind this box? The only thing I have been able to learn is its name. It is a box called Morador's Box. As to who this Morador is or the origins of the box, I do not know. Well, I have a few more questions to ask. Well, just one in this case. What else do you wish to know? Can you safely remove the spells on the box? I think we've already established that she cannot. Seeking to remove yourself from this box, eh? That spell is the worst of them all. Basically, that particular spell draws energy from the current owner of the box and uses it to power one of the spells of confinement. That isn't the worst of it. The fiend inside can smell this energy and would more than likely hunt down that person should it escape. It's really a no-win situation to own that box. Either it drains you dry of your energy, or the fiend within kills you. Oh, this is like an old black and white horror movie from the 1950s, The Runes, with the paper with the runic inscription being the hot potato, and the demon will arrive to kill whoever has willing possession of the parchment when the time comes. And the hero of the film eventually tricks the man who gave the cursed inscription to him into receiving the paper just before the end of the film. I see. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask some more questions. What else do you wish to know? Is there a way to safely dispose of Morador's box without hurting anyone? I'm not strong enough to fight or banish such a creature. It's been ages since I've been there, but there was a cathedral located in the middle of the Alley of Dangerous Angles. A priest or someone who gains their power from a higher source might be able to help you. I see, you've been a great help. Thanks.
Updated my journal.
Now, as far as I'm aware... Oh, hello! Fight, 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 goes Mort.
Balance in
You
all
dog's
things.
body. What?
Hey, do it again.
Your sheer ugliness stabs pain into my eyes.
You tell him, Mort.
You know, if I gotta slam my eyeballs against you one more second, I could puke. What's up,
Alright,
Chief?
and headbutt.
I'm gone.
All in, bundle on him, and deck him.
Endure. Your path is mine.
Alright. Making progress.
I'm gone.
Sort of. Now, where would I find a priest around here? That's a tough one. There's not a lot of devoutly religious folk here in Sigil, even though there really should be. Who gains their power from a higher source? Well, there's that warrior monk, right, who might know who we could talk to. Yes, Porphyron. Let's talk to him. You see Porphyron. He is still standing grimly on the street, paying no heed to the passers-by. Oh, I should just go and ask old Ebb Creekness, shouldn't I? A web of lines on his face are staggered into a series of right angles. This one addresses you, Porphyron. May I ask some questions? This one waits. What questions will you ask? Nothing right now. I will return later. Okay, not him then. Huh. Well, let's just go to the Valley of Dangerous Angles and check out this old temple.
All right.
I at least know where that is. Now, at any point in time, I could simply open the box. I have memories of that being challenging and disappointing. The creature that emerged from the box, while extremely potent and powerful, looked like a limlim. And we haven't looked at the limlims very much yet, so we should at least do that first. But hey, let's go find this old temple and try and work out where we're going to find an old priest, or even a young priest, or priestess of some kind.
Done.
This, I believe, to be it. His old building looks like it might have once been a temple. Indeed. And I don't believe we can get into it. Oh, hello. We can walk around this side a bit. Nope, that's about as far as we can go. Yeah, old temple. I don't believe we can get inside. No, we cannot. Wait, was that a door? There is a door. How very odd. There's a man here called Aola. Let us speak to him. Welcome to the Cathedral of Eoscar. Have you come to worship Eoscar with me? You can be his second disciple. Second? Why are there no other disciples of Eoscar? Over the years, I have had many disciples. Unfortunately, they have all disappeared. It's quite frustrating, actually. As soon as they became initiates, I never see them again. Lately, there has been a rumor going around that the lady herself is the cause. Now no one comes by anymore. You are the first soul I've seen stop by in quite a while. I do not know what it would mean to become a disciple of Eoscar, but I suspect that shortly afterwards I would depart and you would not see me again too. Also, as far as I'm aware, the Nameless One cannot pursue a priestly path, so it must be something else. Tell me more about Eoscar. Aeola's voice takes on a tone of adulation. Eoscar is the keeper of gateways. Within Eoscar lies the power of portals, doorways, and opportunity. Sigil, also known as the City of Doors, used to be the home of Eoscar until he was cast out by that accursed lady. Now there are few worshippers of Eoscar here because the lady forbids it. That will soon change, however, as I help people to see the greatness of Eoscar. She cannot stand against the will of the people. Well, I just wanted to ask you about this box, so let's just talk about that instead. Oh, bugger, really? Box. Bollocks! I bet there's no autosave either. Right, that is a reload moment. That is very much a reload moment. Oh, God.
All right.
So let's get to that same point. So I can only ask about this first, I can't come back to it. So I'm seeking counsel concerning a box and a fiend. You explain to him your predicament. Aola seems to consider things for a moment and then speaks to you. I, a humble disciple to the great Eoscar, will indeed help you. First, you must relinquish the box to me. I give him the box. Aola places Morador's box within a wire pyramid-shaped structure and then mutters a prayer to Eoscar. The familiar shimmering of a portal soon fills in the sides of the pyramid. Aola then casually reaches through the portal and flips open Morador's box. You scream in an attempt to stop him, but it is too late. Almost instantly the box begins to disintegrate as a sickly smoke begins to fill the interior of the pyramid. A feeling of immense dread fills the room, and it is all you can do to keep yourself from bolting from the tent. You notice that as the tendrils of smoke touch the sides of the pyramid, they are drawn into the swirling vortex of the portals. As the last tendril of smoke disappears, the feeling of dread passes. Aola smiles a bit nervously at you. Witness the power of Eoscar, the keeper of gateways. I'm sure a fiend of such power that I am sure a fiend of such power that it required so many spells to contain it will have no problems making its way back here, and when it does, it's going to be looking for you. I have taken that into consideration. You see, each side of the pyramid contained a portal to a different plane. In effect, I scatters its essence far and wide across the multiverse. Did you know there are races out there that consider demons a sort of delicacy? He begins to chuckle softly as he reaches into the pyramid and sifts through the ashes of the box, removing a gem that was attached to it. Payment for my services. I will use this to help rebuild my beautiful cathedral. Keep the gem. You've more than earned it. Farewell.
Updated my journal.
And with that, we are doing very well in terms of experience points, but this is a good time to end the episode. I hope you've all enjoyed this one, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the next one. I'll say bye-bye for now, and cheerio!